Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy.
Today our topic is love, pure, simple love. Our guest, Kim Sorrelle, is the author of an award-winning bestseller, Love Is. It's a book that she wrote after being diagnosed with breast cancer and the death of her husband, Steve, from pancreatic cancer just a few months later. She questioned what love is, and so she took a year to search for the answer and how to live it. She's got a great story to tell and a lot to contribute. Kim says she spent most of that year in Haiti, where she made life-changing discoveries that rocked her world. Her book, Love Is, tells the sometimes scary, sometimes funny, always enlightening stories, leading to revelations about love. And she says the things she learned about living, breathing, walking, and talking love can change the world. Well, let's find out. Kim, welcome to the Lean to the Left podcast.
Bob, I am thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. You know, you were hit with a sledgehammer twice. First, your breast cancer diagnosis, and then the loss of Steve. How did you ever navigate all of that? And weren't you angry? Man, I'd have been just so ticked off, you know. Why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do?
That is so funny that you would say that, because people said that to me just after my own diagnosis, before my husband was diagnosed. They'd say, why you? You know, you do things to help people, you employ people, you do all this, you know, why you? Yeah. And my answer was always, well, why not me? Why would I be immune? You know, nobody's immune. Cancer doesn't discriminate. Cancer just hits whoever it decides to hit.
Right. So you didn't feel that way. You didn't feel any bitterness or any of that some people probably would have felt, right?
Yeah, I never really did. Not that I wanted it. I mean, my word, if I could pick to not, you know, and if I could pick for my husband to not, that would have been great. But some choices you don't get to make in life.
Yes. So what about your cancer? You okay now?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Your kids, I know you have 4 kids. One of them's adopted, right?
I have 5 and one is adopted, right?
5. Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So how old were they when all of this happened?
They were young adults when it happened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually my youngest was getting his undergrad at the time. He was going to school on the GI Bill, so you paid for his college. Thank you so much for that, Bob. I appreciate you contributing to my son's college.
If he was in the GI Bill, he deserves it.
Yes, for sure. Well, and it changed what he decided to do. He was going to do something with medicine, not sure what, and he became a cancer researcher. He's got his PhD in cancer research.
Yeah, I saw that. It says in your bio that he's focusing on breast cancer, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that he's made some headway with it.
He has. Yeah.
Well, you must be very proud of your son.
I'm proud of all my kids for sure. But yes, very proud of him.
Okay. Now your bio says that you spent a year after Steve died searching for the true meaning of love. Why? Didn't you already know what that was? I mean, where did that search take you and what did you discover?
Well, you know, it's funny. Love is a funny thing. I think it's a mystery to so many of us. There's so many books written about it. There's songs written about it. You know, there's Nicholas Sparks writing these romantic movies and Ed Sheeran singing about them and whatever. But do we really know what love really is? And so I decided I was going to figure it out. And so I dedicated a year. Took me longer than a year. But at first I thought, and I'll tell you what, Bob, I go to a restaurant. I have a hard time deciding which entree. So for me to commit to an entire year of doing anything was a pretty big deal. But I decided I would do this. So I took this 2,000-year-old poem that you hear at a lot of weddings and places, love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, and decided I would take one word a month and figure out what is love that is patient? What is love that is kind? And every single one of those is's and isn'ts of love, which there are 14, by the way, which is why it took me longer than a year. As soon as you put love is or love is not in front of any word, it completely changes the meaning of the word.
Well, you took a year to do this. Why? Why did you feel this was so important to you in your life that you were going to put everything else aside and do this? Why?
I loved my husband dearly. We had a great relationship. He was a wonderful man. I was 47 years old and widowed, which is a word that I hated and I had to kind of get used to. But I just questioned love. I questioned, did I do it right? Am I doing it right? Am I don't know, loving the right way? What is love really? I just questioned love for whatever reason. So I decided somebody needed to figure it out. So it might as well be me.
Well, I know from what you've told me that you, during your adulthood, you've run a bunch of businesses, right?
Right.
Huh? Now, weren't you running businesses at that time?
Well, the timing was such that I had people in place at all of my businesses. And when I was able to go back to work, physically able to go back to work, I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
Right.
And here I had this whole new life without my husband.
Right.
And I thought, gosh, do I go back into the businesses? I've got good people running them. Do I do something else? I'm the director of a humanitarian organization. I wasn't at that moment, but I had been before. Right. And so I took a job on January 1 to be part-time bookkeeper of a nonprofit organization that my father and I had started 10 years before.
Okay.
And 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people.
Okay.
So within 2 weeks, I was in Haiti, and which is why I was in Haiti. And so I had people running my businesses. So it gave me the freedom to discover my new life and figure out love.
You must be pretty good at delegating.
I hope so. I mean, that's the way to grow.
I
right?
tell you, that's one of my big failings is I have to do everything myself, which is why I never get anywhere. That's another topic for another time. But you're talking about you had multiple businesses going on while you were doing this. Mm-hmm. And you decided, okay, I have good people. I don't need to worry about these businesses. I am going to take a year off and I'm going to figure out the mystery of love. Right?
Right.
That's what you did. And so the earthquake happened. You were working for a nonprofit. You decide all these people died. There's this big need in Haiti. I'm going to Haiti.
Right.
And this was after you had decided you were going to take a year off to find the true meaning of love, right?
Right.
I got that right?
You do have that right. I didn't start immediately then looking for love because as soon as I got to Haiti, I was working 24/7. I mean, there was so much to do. And so I was working and then got to a point where I was able to then do this.
Well, what did you do there in Haiti?
Mostly work with logistics. So we got stuff into the country. It's one of the things that we do, my nonprofit that I work with. Okay. There's so many things you can't get in Haiti. There's no Walmart. There's no place to really go buy any medical equipment. Right. And it's hard to have a clinic without medical equipment. It's hard to have a school without pencils and the things that you need for a school. Right. And so we were able to get things into the country and help out organizations that were working in the country, get the stuff that they need. I was part of the UN logistics cluster after the earthquake. And so having some meetings on the base of the UN and just trying to get the country back up and running again.
Wow. Yeah, your book description says that while you were there, you met people who both tested and displayed love to its limits, from irritating employees to sexist short-term missionaries to curse-wielding women to kind nuns. Now, tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, every single one of those words, it took me till the end of the month to figure them out. It took me a full month, and it would always be something would happen. Something would happen in Haiti that I'd go, that's what love that is patient is. That's what love that is kind is. And I had crazy things happen. I was chased by a motorcycle gang. I had to sleep outside.
Why were you chased by a motorcycle gang?
Well, I kind of made a couple people mad. I was crossing the border from Haiti to the Dominican Republic, and I did not stop on the Haitian side because the last time I'd crossed the border, it was in one building. On the Dominican side, you'd get stamped by Haiti and stamped by Dominican in the same building. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't stop because Haiti can be a little dangerous. There can be some sketchy things. And so you got to be careful what you do. Right. And got to the other side and realized I should have stopped. Right. And so I was with two American men, and I was in this big truck with stuff in the back. And so one of them stayed with the truck, and a Dominican guy helped translate for us, came over and was translating for us, and arranged for a couple motorcycles to take us back to the other side. Right. To get stamped. So we took the 3 passports, went back to the other side, and we pre-negotiated the price, of course, and got back to the other side. And all of a sudden they wanted more money. Oh. And I was like, well, I'm not going to give you any more money. This is what I told you I would give you. This is it. This is what you get. Right. So then we went to leave, and all of a sudden the guy in the back of the truck started yelling, go, go, go. And we realized that big rocks were being thrown at us. And so my friend was driving, and he started driving faster. And then we looked, and there was a bunch of motorcycles chasing us down because they were mad that I didn't give them more money. And we were like, it felt like we were on 2 wheels most of the time going around curves. He was driving as fast as he possibly could. Our adrenaline was rushing like crazy. We finally did lose the gang. We finally got away from all the motorcycle drivers. And my friend said to me, what was that about? And I said, oh gosh, they wanted more money. And I didn't give it to them because we gave them a price. They gave me a price before we ever went. Mm. And then he said, well, how much more money did they want? Yeah. And I said, $5. So it might have been wise just to give them the $5 and keep our lives.
No wonder you're a successful businesswoman. You're a hard ass when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now tell me about the sexist short-term missionaries.
Oh my goodness.
And the curse-wielding women.
Well, the sexist short-term missionaries, I had a call from a guy in the U.S., a pastor, who was interested in a water project that I was working on in Haiti, and asked if I'd go show it to him. So there were 8 American men. I brought 2 Haitian friends who were also men, and me, to go work on this project. And we were sent out to the countryside. We got to where we were staying, and it was a very small building. It just had 2 rooms with 4 twin-size beds in each room. Mm-hmm. So 8 American men, 8 twin-size beds, 2 Haitian men, me. So the head of the American men said, Kim, can I talk to you? I'm like, sure. And he said, did you see the rooms? And I was thinking, buddy, there's nothing else to see. It's such a small place. But then I thought, oh, he's going to think I want my own room. Yeah. So I'll say, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And then he'll say, well, no, if anyone should sleep inside, it should be you. And I'll say, well, I don't care if there's other people in my room. And he'll go, great. And everything will be fine. Right. So I said, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he said, oh, good. Because we have men We have men on the trip that would not be comfortable with a woman in their room. And Bob, I promise you, I wear pajamas. Like, I don't even know what would happen in a room full of people in the night in hot Haiti. So I said I would do it. So I had to do it. And so I saw this piece of plywood and it was sort of held up by wooden structures. And I thought, well, I'll sleep under there. And at least if it rains, I'm okay.
Uh-huh.
And we had an air mattress that held air for about an hour. And then the dogs were barking, the horns were honking. It was so loud. And then about 2 a.m., voodoo drums started in the distance. And finally, 4 a.m., I was able to doze off. But I was so afraid of something biting me. Doing something, dismembering me. I didn't know what would happen. I mean, there's tarantulas and there's snakes and there's chupacabras or whatever it is that's lurking in the bushes of Haiti. And so the first night came and went and I was fine. Second night, I woke up because there was something on my leg.
Yeah? What was it?
I was scared to death. I thought, God, does Haiti have the anti-venom? Are they going to be able to airlift me to Miami in time? I mean, I had no idea. And so I slowly lifted my head and I slowly opened my eyes and it was a chicken. There was a chicken on my leg. And I didn't know whether to be mad because it woke me up or happy because it wasn't something worse. Third night came and went, everything fine. Fourth night, same thing. No air in the air mattress, dogs, horns, voodoo drums, finally dozed off. And again, I woke up because there was something on my leg.
Yeah.
And again, I slowly lifted my head, slowly opened my eyes. Yeah. And again, it was the dang chicken. And so again, I didn't know whether to be mad or happy or what. But Bob, the good news is we had chicken that night for dinner. So my last night was completely uneventful.
So it was the chicken that you had for dinner. That was the one that was crawling around on you, huh?
That is the one.
Oh, well, he met his maker. That's pretty funny. All right. So now I want to know if you, well, I think I know the answer to this question, but I was going to ask you, if you went to Haiti deliberately to research your quest about love, and the answer is no. That you just happened to go to Haiti because of the tragedy that occurred there,
right?
But you continued your quest while you were in Haiti.
Exactly.
Okay, so what did you discover while you were there?
Oh my gosh. Well, like I said, there's 14 is's and isn'ts of love in that poem. And each one has very special meaning when it comes to love. And we tend to think of love as an emotion, right?
Right.
Like you're in love but it's not. Love is not like fear or excitement. Love is who you can be. Mm-hmm. Love is living and breathing. Love is alive. Mm-hmm. And love, there's things that we're taught about love that are completely not true. Like people go to marriage counseling and they're told that, well, it's 50-50 or it's 100-100. Well, there's no number to love. It's not like you have a basket of love and when it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
You have as much love as you want to have. Right. And love is completely up to you. We're taught, that love is a two-way street. It isn't. Love is not a two-way street.
It's not.
It is. No, it's completely on you to love. It's completely on you to love. Okay. If you get love back, you get love back. Uh-huh. But if you are giving love to get love, then you're negotiating something. That's not love. That's a contract you're trying to make. Yeah. And love doesn't do that. So love is a lot different than people realize.
Okay. I get that. So if, all right, I'm married. I do something for my wife because I love her. And then I have a need. And I'm thinking, she says she loves me, so she's going to help me out with this need, but she doesn't. Now, how am I supposed to feel about that?
Well, do you have children?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They're adults. They're long gone,
Sure. But they were babies at one point in time.
Right.
And so when they're an infant, you have complete control over them, right? You decide when they eat, you decide when they have a bath, whatever. But by the time they're 6 months old, they are pulling every pot and pan out of your cupboard. They are wreaking havoc in your home. And you realize that you have lost all control and you never get any control back.
Right.
So you have no control. We have no control over anybody but ourselves.
Right.
We have none.
Yeah.
Right? And so many times it's not what somebody does or doesn't do that gets us into trouble. It's our own expectations of what we think they should do.
Right.
But your wife isn't a mind reader, for one thing, and she isn't obligated. Your love shouldn't be contingent on her doing something for you.
Got it.
Love has a way of that happening.
Uh-huh.
Like the more you give love, the more you get love. It just is a natural thing that happens.
Right.
But you can't do it to get it.
Right. So I shouldn't be pissed off because, I made her breakfast because she wasn't feeling well. But now I have this need and she's not coming around recognizing that. I shouldn't feel like, well, she doesn't love me. It's probably not that at all.
It probably isn't that at all. And did you even tell her your need?
Oh, hell,
so
I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying this really is true.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. But so often we don't tell our
I know, and that's a big failing. You said that she's not a mind reader, and that's true. And I'm not a mind reader either. I can't, always know. Now, when you began doing all of this research about love, was that deliberately because you wanted to get information because you knew you wanted to write the book, or did the book come after that?
Well, I was doing the experiment. I was walking this journey, whether or not I wrote a book, whether or not I ever told anybody about it. I wanted to find out for myself.
Okay. And then you decided afterwards you had enough great stuff to go ahead and put it down and write a book.
Yeah.
Because you had already written one book about your experience when Steve passed away, right?
Right.
And what was the name of that book?
Cry Until You Laugh.
Yeah, I love that title. And it just tells me without even having a chance to read it, really what it's about. It's a great title. And I guess that's really what you did, huh?
It really is. I realized quickly that, like we talked about earlier, there are choices in life that you don't make, things that you have no control over, but there are choices that you do make, like how you're going to live and how you're going to see life and how you're going to grab it by the tail and how you're going to be happy. We get to pick all those things.
Yeah. Well, in this country right now, we have this big political divide. We have people on one side and the other angry at each other, and nobody really taking the opportunity to understand where the other side is coming from. At least that's how I see it. And I have to say that I probably am guilty of that to some extent as well. But you told me that people from both parties can actually have dinner together without breaking into a fist fight. You told me that. And, I've been in those kinds of situations, even within my own family. And dinner hadn't been real happy. So tell me, how could it happen that you could have this happy family dinner or happy dinner with your friends if one side and the other are so up against each other like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's entirely possible for sure. And should be. It's a funny thing, but if you just say to somebody outside of politics, you're not thinking about politics at the moment, and people will say, I love everybody. I love everybody. But those darn Republicans, well,
Right.
you don't love everybody then, right?
Yeah.
Or those darn Democrats, whatever it happens to be, whatever side you happen to be on.
Right.
Well, then you don't love everybody.
Right.
And love doesn't put labels on people. You're Bob. I'm Kim. That should be the starting point.
Yeah.
Rather than what our political affiliation is.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right out of the gates, the very first month that I worked on was Love is Patient. And I thought, well, I know what patience is. You know what patience is. We're not mad if we get stuck in traffic. We're not honking our horn or angry because we're ready to go. They're not ready to go, right? We're being patient. But I discovered that love that is patient is a lot different than that. When you show love that is patient to the person that you're with, you're recognizing that this moment is the most important moment of your life. What's in the past is in the past. What's in the future is yet to come. This is the moment. So you give your full attention to show love that is patient. You give your full attention. I'll tell you, it was something I had to work on because I felt like I was this great multitasker. I could think of 25 things at one time and still carry on a full conversation and be completely engaged, and realize that's not true. But it's so easy to be thinking about your next thing, the meeting you have later that day, stopping at the grocery store, your kid's soccer practice, something that happened yesterday, and you're not entirely in the moment.
Right.
But when you change that and you are entirely here, entirely present, all of you, you listen in a whole different way. And it's amazing the things that you learn. And when you listen without thinking about your rebuttal, what you're going to say next, but you just really listen and let somebody talk, you might learn something. And there might be part of it that you agree with, or you might disagree with all of it.
Yeah.
But then you realize that you have no control over the person you're talking to. They can believe whatever they want, and it's okay. Love would say you let other people believe differently. People can have whatever opinion they want.
Right.
And it is the most freeing thing when you just love people.
Okay.
When you just love, there's no judgment, no condemnation, no racism, no criticism, no unsolicited advice, none of that. All you have to do is love and let people be who they're created to be.
Well, is that love, or is that just ignoring people?
No, it's love. It definitely is love, for
so?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes love. Otherwise, you're going to get angry, right? Somebody says something you don't like. I mean, it's going to tick you off.
Yeah.
But if you instead love and say, you know what, that brother-in-law, I might not want to hang out with him all the time. I mean, you might not like him a lot, but you can love him and give him the freedom to be who he is and believe the way he does without fighting about it.
Yeah, that's true. You can just walk away, right?
Right. Walk away. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. You don't have to say anything back necessarily. And we don't change people's minds. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. But
no, you don't change people's minds. Not on this kind of stuff, you don't.
No,
not today, not in today's atmosphere.
No, you sure don't. So you might as well realize that you're not going to change your mind. So it doesn't really matter what you say.
Right.
But if you've got a point to make and you say it calmly and, but first listen.
Yeah.
First listen.
Well, all right. So there's this guy down the street from me. All right. So you guys all know that my podcast is called Lean to the Left. So you know what side of the spectrum I'm on, right? So there's this guy down the street from me who has an American flag on one side of his porch, and on the other side of his porch, he rotates these protest flags. One is a "Don't Tread on Me." Another one is a 1776 flag. And he keeps doing this. And I think he does it to piss off people like me, right? Now, every day when I go drive past this house, I am so tempted, or when I ride my bike past this house, I am so tempted just to stop and say, WTF, what are you up to? But I don't. I don't. Because I know if I ever talked to the guy, I would just be so ticked off that I wouldn't be able. And how can I love this guy? I mean, come on.
Well, it's up to you whether or not it ticks you off.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
It doesn't have to tick you off.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
Well, he's got a right to fly whatever frickin' flag he wants to fly.
Right, that's on him. That's on him. Yeah. And then how it makes him look to some people, it's how it makes him look to some people.
That's right.
Right. But it's on him.
That's right. All right. So, first of all, do you have anything more that you would like to talk about in terms of love? Because I want to ask you about some of the other stuff that you've done in your life, like your businesses. So is there anything more you would like to discuss dealing with your book or any of that?
Yeah, well, just no, because people can buy the book.
Right.
Because I did everybody's homework for them. I did your homework for you. Right. So you can buy the book and learn all about what love really is.
Okay, and it's available where? On Amazon and
Amazon, at Barnes and Noble. It's in brick and mortar stores as well as online.
Okay.
Love is pretty easy title.
Yeah, pretty easy. Okay. Now, you've done a lot more in your life than write a couple of books and search out the true meaning of love. So you were a business entrepreneur, a basketball and a volleyball coach, probably a lot more. Tell us more about that, and tell us more about the nonprofit that you work with. You still do, right?
I do. Right. Yeah.
So let's hear about that.
Yeah. Rays of Hope International is the name of the nonprofit, and we are a partnering organization. Okay. So we work with people in their own country who have a passion to do something to help people in their own country, and they just need someone to walk alongside. Okay. So they understand the language, they understand the culture, they understand the true need. Mm-hmm. So we're not the American going in, we know what you need, and might not be what they need. Right. And so, but they need a business plan. Okay. Or they need supplies if they're opening a medical clinic or whatever it happens to be, we help. And then always leading towards self-sustainability so they're not forever chasing dollars.
So your wide experience as an entrepreneur and in business provides you with a lot of the resources and background, I would suspect, to do this job, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I think that everybody should be aware of. Yeah. Is sometimes people don't volunteer because they don't feel qualified. Yeah. Like, I don't know, I haven't done that. Yeah. Well, what are you qualified for? I mean, everybody does something. Yeah. And use whatever it is that you know to help other people. Yeah. Everything can help.
Now, one of my sources, I have a far-flung network of sources. And one of my sources told me that you were reading the Wall Street Journal one day and you saw an ad for a grocery store on some Caribbean island somewhere and decided, I think I'll buy it. True?
True story. Yes.
You did that?
Well, it was a good deal. It was on St. Croix. They were selling the grocery store for the cost of the inventory. Yeah. So it's kind of a no-lose situation. And I love a challenge. Okay. I love something that's not doing very well and taking it and making it successful. Yeah. So it was fun.
So you did that. Now, did you move to St. Croix to do this, or did you do this via Zoom?
Zoom didn't exist, but
Okay.
but I was able to make long distance phone calls. And so, yeah, hired a great manager,
Okay.
hired and trained a great manager. So we knew we could depend on him. I knew that he was completely dependable.
Okay.
And then went down, we sent somebody down from the US every month. And so about every third month I was in St. Croix.
Well, there was also a big hurricane, and you had a lot of problems with that, right?
Yes, yeah. Hurricane Hugo, the eye of it went right over St. Croix. It just destroyed everything, including the roof of our building. And so everything was taken. All the food inside, everything we had was taken from the store. But I didn't really care because people need to eat.
Sure.
So that's okay. Seeing people steal lawnmowers and other things, it was a little disheartening.
Okay.
But food is okay.
So you love the people that took the food, but not so much the people that took the lawnmowers.
Well, I love them. I just don't respect that decision.
Well, you weren't selling lawnmowers anyway. It was a grocery store, right?
That's right. Exactly. They weren't my lawnmowers.
Okay. All right. And another source that I have, like I said, I have a variety of sources. Another source told me that, and this is an unidentified source who refused to be identified, told me that you once bought a 9-hole golf course, turned it into an 18-hole golf course, and then it became almost like a resort or something, right?
Well, yeah, that is what happened, sort of. Not the resort part necessarily, but turned it into 18 holes, added some fine dining, added some event facilities, had indoor golf for a while.
Sounds like a resort to me. All right. Where was that anyway, Kim?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay. All right. And is that where you're from?
It is.
Is that where you are now?
It is.
Okay. Okay. Well, so you can see, and basketball and volleyball coaching, what was that all about?
Well, I played 3 sports in school. I played basketball, volleyball, and softball. I love mentoring, love teaching, love coaching.
Yeah.
And I actually started coaching when I was in high school.
Okay.
And then continued to coach. And so I coached some grade school or middle school basketball, and I coached high school basketball. I coached varsity volleyball, and loved it. And I love to win, believe it or not. And my volleyball team.
I had never thought that. Never would.
Big surprise. Yeah. But yeah, so we did great. I mean, we were ranked in the top 10 in our state.
Wow.
Every year except my first year.
Wow.
And it was fun.
That's pretty cool. All right. So what is the bottom line message that you would like our listeners to take about love and its power?
I would say that to first of all realize that you probably don't know everything about love. Like the love is different than what you think it is. Love is alive. Love is who you can be. And when you are love, your life turns upside down. Your life gets much happier, much better.
Okay.
Everything is better. It is the freest way to live. When you realize that you don't have to change people. It's not your job to change anybody. You're only responsible for yourself. And all you need to do is love people. There's not a freer way to live.
Spoken by someone who knows. She's done the research. She's lived it, right? I mean, you've lived it. You've had to live it.
Yeah, hopefully I'm still living it.
But I mean, the challenges that you've had, the health challenges, the tragic loss of your husband, all the while keeping up with everything else that you do, something had to help carry you through that.
For sure. Yes.
And you think it was your love?
I think love had a great deal to do with it. And then learning more about love just made things all the better.
Okay. Kim Sorrelle, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I appreciate you joining us today on the Lean to the Left podcast. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this Lean to the Left video, and you'll come back on a regular basis and check out our interviews with guests on topics that I hope you find interesting, entertaining, and enlightening. Our audio interviews stream weekly on Mondays, and depending on what's going on, also on Thursdays. And many are also produced as videos like this one. In addition, we provide narrations of much of the commentary published on the Lean to the Left blog, commentary by some excellent writers with perspectives on a whole range of topics. Now you can sign up as a member at leantotheleft.net, and of course it's all free. Also, let your friends know about this podcast and take a minute to subscribe. Just go to podcast.leantotheleft.net and you can subscribe there. You can also check out the upcoming interview schedule, and you can listen to all of our episodes too. You can also support this podcast by clicking on the Donate tab at the top of the page, where you'll find links to buy me a cup of coffee and also PayPal. Follow us on social media. Facebook at the Lean to the Left podcast, Twitter at Lean to the Left 1, Instagram at Not Fake News. Now remember, our goal is to be informative and entertaining as we comment on the latest developments in the news. You guessed it, with just a little lean to the left. Now this is Bob Gaddy signing off for Lean to the Left. Thanks for sharing your time with us.